The first one, negation P implies P and Q. So you have two component preposition in the compound PQ. So if a compound preposition has two component preposition, we expect how many logical combination based on their truth values? We expect what? 4. So first we list the 4 possibilities. It is composed of PQ. Yes, always the order is first we write P, then what? Q, in case we have 2 PQ. So the 4, true, true, false, false in the first column, true, false on the second column. So these are the 4. So after you list the 4 logical possibilities, for each logical connector we will have 1 column. That means for negation I will have 1 column for negation of P. For conjunction I will have 1 column, and for implication I will have what? 1 column. So let's start with negation P. So negation P means not P. So if P is true, negation P is false. P true means negation P is false. When P is false, the negation is true. Negation of false is what? True. So the third column, the negation of P, that is the opposite of what? The first column. So the third column is for what? The rule of negation. Now the first column, let's construct for P and Q. Inside the bracket you have what? P and Q. So the rule of conjunction, when both are true, it will be true, otherwise it is what? False. That is the rule of conjunction. P and Q will be true when both are true, otherwise it is what? False. So the first column is for what? Conjunction. Now the last column for implication, that means we are going to imply from negation P to P and Q. From negation P, from the third column to what? The fourth column. We are going to imply. We combine the third and the fourth column based on implication. Now remember the rule of implication. So false implies true is what? True. The first possible combination. False implies true is what? True. False implies false. It is true. That is the rule of implication. True implies false. So whenever you imply from true assumption, hypothesis to false conclusion, in logic, true implies false is what? False. Again, true implies false is what? False. So this is the truth table for a compound preposition. Negation P implies P and Q. So for a compound preposition with two component preposition, total will have what? 4 logical possibilities. And when you construct the truth table that shows the logical possibilities, you are going to construct 1 column for each connector in the compound preposition. So let's add one more. Compound preposition P if only if Q or negation R. So how many component prepositions we have? 3. P, Q, and what? R. So for a compound preposition having 3 components, how many logical possibilities in the truth table? To the power of 3, which is what? 8. So we'll have 8 logical possibilities for this compound preposition. So we are going to list first the 8 logical possibilities. So by starting from P, Q, then the third is what? R. And we list the 8 logical possibilities. How? For the first column, 4 true, 4 false. For the second column Q, true, true, false, false, 8 times. For the third, true, false, 8 times. Total, we have what? The 8 possible combination of PQR. So, once we list the 8 possible combination for PQR, For each logical connector, we construct one column. So let's start with negation of R. To determine Q or negation R, first we need the truth value of negation R. So we start from the negation of R. Negation of R means the opposite of the third column. When R is true, the negation false. The negation of false, true. Negation of true, false. Negation of false, just the opposite of the third column will give us negation R. Next, once we have negation R, we can construct Q or negation R. So the fifth column, we apply what? A rule of disjunction. For disjunction, you remember, when both are false, it will be false, otherwise it is what? True. So Q, the second column, with what? The fourth column, based on disjunction. So true or false? True. True or true? It is true. False or false? False. False or true? It is true. True or false? True. True or true? True. False or false? False. False or true? Only when both are false, false or false becomes false. Otherwise, it is what? True. We combine second column with what? Fourth column, based on disjunction. So we finish Q or negation R. So finally, we combine Q or negation R with P based on what? By implication. So the last column is for by implication. We combine P, the first column, with the fifth column based on what? By implication. And the rule of by implication, when both have the same truth value, it will be true. Otherwise, it is what? False. When they have different truth value, in the third row, P true, Q or negation R is what? False. They have what? Different truth value, so the result is false. When both have the same truth value, it will be what? True. In such a way, we can find the truth value of the compound preposition P if only if Q or negation R.